What is going on, everyone? In this video, we are going to be creating a newsletter. So step by step, we're going to be going through creating a newsletter that someone signs up to. We're going to show you how to create the automation where someone signs up for our newsletter and we can add a tag to them to set them up into our newsletter system. We're then going to create a smart list for these people that sign up to our newsletter. And then I'm going to show you how to actually send email campaigns to everyone within the smart list that we create. So I'm going to go step by step, going through all of those items. I'm going to make it super in depth, easy to follow. So make sure to watch till the end. My name is Isaac Nichols, and I am on a mission to make coaching as easy as possible using GoHighLevel. So let's get into it. So step one within building our newsletter, all the way from building the newsletter to the automations behind it, to creating the list, sending the emails, is we first want to actually create a form that someone's going to submit their first name, potentially their last name, and most specifically their email. So where we're going to go to start creating this is we're going to go into sites. So when you go into sites, you're going to see forms at the top here. This is what we want to click into, and we want to click into the builder. This is where we're going to go to create the form that we're going to then put on our website or our funnel that someone can submit their information to. So you may have some forms in here, you may not already, based on if you're using a snapshot or just starting out from scratch. But what we want to do here is add a form. Now, when you add a form, you can use from templates or you can start from scratch. In this video, I'm going to show you how to start from scratch. So I'm going to show you just a very basic understanding of how to put together the form and grab the information that we want to grab. So I'm going to create from scratch here. Now, when you open up your form for the first time, it's going to give you kind of like this pre-built template. Although you didn't check template, this is what it's going to be starting out. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is change the name of this form. So again, if this is like a newsletter sign up that you're going to have on your website, the easiest thing to call this is something like newsletter sign up. I'm going to say that. Now, you can collect phone numbers, but for this case specifically, we're really just trying to build up our newsletter list so we can send email campaigns. So we don't need phone number. You can exit that out there. Now, when we don't need phone numbers, we also don't need this extra information down here, which is basically saying, I agree to receive like text messages from company name, etc., etc. So we can also get rid of these as well. And we can get rid of our privacy policy and terms and conditions. If you do want to add a checkbox that says like, hey, I agree to receive communication from like this company, we can go and add. And if you go down to the bottom here, we can add this element here, T's and C's. And it just says, I agree. You can completely customize this messaging here. So if you want to bring this down here, you can click into it and you can customize the messaging here. For this video, I'm just going to leave this out. We're just going to be collecting first name, last name, and email. Even if you want to simplify this further, you can get rid of last name and we can just do first name, email, button. Now for the button though, when we click into it, we don't want it to say button. We want it to say something a little bit more exciting. So we can do something like sign up for my newsletter. And even this isn't that exciting. You'll probably want to kind of word it and make it sound a little bit more specific and fun to your niche, to what you're actually going to be telling people about in your newsletter. This is where we're going to actually set up the text. We're going to click the button first and set up the text. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the different customization features within the form itself, but the main thing that you're probably going to want to change is the background color of the button itself. When you click into the button again, under where we've added the text, we can also change the button here, the button color. So if I wanted to make this red, for example, I can set that here. You can add in your own code here if you have your specific color code that you want to add. Once we've created our form, we can then go ahead and save it. So that's the actual form component. We've built the form. We now need to put this form on a website, on a funnel, wherever we want to put it. So now we can go back and you can see now in your list of forms, we now have the newsletter sign up. So now what we're going to do is you're going to go into the place that you want to add your newsletter form, whether it's a website, a funnel, a webinar page, whatever it is. This is how we're actually going to add it. Okay, so I'm going to do it for a website specifically, but this will work the exact same way for a funnel, for a webinar page, whatever you're doing. And you're going to find the location that you want to add your newsletter sign up form to. So in this case, I have this website template in my account that I'm going to use. I'm going to click into here. And then you're going to find the page that you actually want to add this newsletter to. So in my example, this is my homepage on my website. I'm going to edit this homepage and I'm going to add my newsletter on the homepage. So I'm going to find the place that I want to add it. Maybe it's right down the bottom of this page here. Maybe I'm going to add it at the bottom, just above the bottom menu here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a new section into my website. I'm going to set the background to white. I'm then going to add a row into the website. And then when I add element, this is where I can add my form that I just created. So I can click form here. And then from this drop down, you can select the form that you've just built. So we called it newsletter sign up, so I can click it here. And now that form's been added to the bottom. So this is really, really cool. We've added our form to our website. Now, you may not want to stop there. You may want to add some text. So like before someone actually submits the form, we may want to say something like, hey, sign up below to join my newsletter. To do something like this, we want to add some text above the form. So I'm going to add an element again. I'm going to find some subheadline here. I'm going to add it above the form. And this is where I'm going to say, again, this is going to be specific to you, but here I can just say like, join my newsletter by signing up below. You can add like more playful wording. You can make it your own. You can make it like fun and engaging, but really like we're just trying to make this super clear and obvious. This is where you're signing up for my newsletter. Okay. So you can sign up here. Then what we want to do is we then want to make sure that we save and publish our page. Okay. So when we publish this will publish to the website that you're using for this specific website. Now, I'm not going to show you how to connect your domain to this website or how to make this website live. But the main thing here is you want to save and publish to your existing website here. So now we have our form that can be submitted. Now, this is great by itself. If someone submits this form, we grab their information, they're brought into the system. We also want to differentiate them. We also want to know someone has signed up to my newsletter specifically. We need to know this because when we start sending out our newsletter campaigns, we can grab the group of people that have signed up for your newsletter and be like, hey, I'm emailing this group of people, and I know that there's this group of people because they've submitted this form. This is why we're going to build an automation for this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into automations. And we're going to create one from scratch. This is also another reason why GoHighLevel is so nice to have and bring everything into one location. We're not having to use like Zapier to connect your MailChimp, sending emails to wherever you collected your form information. We're going to do it all within GoHighLevel. We're going to now create a workflow and we're going to do it from scratch. For the trigger here, very easily, when we click trigger, you can search up the trigger here, form, and you'll find the event here, form submitted. What this is saying is like, if someone submits a form, we want that to trigger this automation. And to specify the form, we're going to add a filter, and we're going to say select, form is newsletter signup. So what we're saying here is if someone submits the newsletter signup form, then trigger this workflow. And I'm going to save this in the bottom right. That will trigger this automation to go off. Now, what do we actually want to do in this automation? We're not sending emails yet. Now, you can send like a welcome email if you'd like to, and I'll show you how to do that. But the main thing that we're doing here is we're tagging someone. We want to say, someone submits this form, we want to tag them with our nurture tag or newsletter tag, whatever the tag that we're going to be using to differentiate people who are in our newsletter. So I can add here, and I'm going to add a tag, contact tag. Now you can create your own tag here, or you can select from your existing tags. But let's say I wanted to do a newsletter tag here. I'm going to add new tag, and I'm going to click save. This will then add the newsletter tag when someone submits this form. Now, if you also want to send a welcome email, you can also send an email. And you can write out your email, or you can select from your email templates here, but I'm not going to touch too much on this. The main thing here that we want to do is we want to have someone submit this form, add the tag to add them to our newsletter. We then want to make sure that we actually rename this workflow, that it's something that we can remember and we can organize, and this can be newsletter sign up. When I do my automations, I like to make it super clear what's going on in them, just in case I start like really piling up my automations. I know exactly what's going on here. So I know this is a newsletter sign up, add newsletter tag. That's what this automation is doing here. I can then publish this workflow and save it. how we've created the workflow for this newsletter where someone submits our newsletter, sign up, they're opting in to say they want to receive our newsletters. They'll come through this workflow here because this is triggered by that form. And then we're going to add the tag newsletter. Now what we can do, something really cool, is we can actually create what is called a smart list based on people who have submitted this form or people who are on our newsletter list. So we can do this by going into contacts. Now, I don't have any contacts in my list yet, but we can still create this smart list based on people who have been added to our newsletter system or that list of people. And we can do this like this. So even though I don't have any people on my list yet, you may have some, you may have none. This will work fine either way. But what we're going to do here is we're going to click more filters. This will open up this filters dashboard on the right. What we want to do here is search for tag. And here it is, the tag. So if you think about it, we're tagging people with newsletter when they submit this form. So what we want to say here is people with tag, and then tag is newsletter. That's the tag that we just created. We can then come down to the bottom here. I'm just going to move this chat widget, and we can click apply. After we've clicked applied, we can also then say save as smart list. When we save as smart list, we can call this list whatever we want. Now for simplicity, I could just call this newsletter and save. You'll see a new smart list appear up here. This smart list will now contain anyone who has that newsletter tag. So as people start submitting your form, and I'll show you right now, I'll go through the steps and submit it so you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to my website now that we just added the form to, and I'm going to preview it. Now if I go all the way to the bottom of the website page here, where I added the sign up form, I can have my first name, I can have my email, and I can sign up to my newsletter. Perfect. Now when I go back into the system, I can double check this with my automation. So I'm going to go into automation. I'm going to find that automation that I just built here, and you can see already, total people enrolled, 1. That was set to 0 when I first created it, obviously, but now, because I submitted that form, this has now gone up to 1. If you're noticing that this isn't going up or something's not working here, make sure that it's published, and also make sure that you're collecting the right form. The trigger in the automation is pulling from the right form that you want to pull from. You can see here I've come in here, but the best part here is now when I go into contacts, I can go into newsletter, and here I am. The tag's been added, and I've added to my newsletter smart list here. So that's actually how you start generating your list with your newsletter, build out the automation. Now the next step is actually going to be creating your email campaigns and sending out your newsletters. So this is going to be done in the marketing tab here. The best way to go about creating your email newsletter is to build one template and then clone that template every time you do a newsletter. If you try and rebuild an email each time you want to send a newsletter, it's going to become exhausting. It's best to just build a template that you start with that has like your branding, has your logo maybe, has some information in the bottom, and then you can clone it every time you want to send a newsletter. So I'll show you what I mean here. If I go into emails and then templates, this is where we're going to go ahead and create a template. So I'm going to do new. And you can even do from marketing templates. So if I choose marketing templates here, this will show you a whole bunch of email templates that you can build off of. Now, one thing, just a side note, if you start sending newsletters that have a ton of links, a ton of images, like video embedded links, you're gonna end up in people's spam. So yes, you can add your branding. Yes, you can make it look a little nicer, but keep in mind the more stuff you add, the more you're going to end up in people's spam and get flagged, okay? So I'm going to choose this one here. I'm going to use this one, the simple one. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to click continue. We're going to build off of this to make it unique. We're going to make, like, add our logo. We're going to do all that good stuff, and then we can use that as our base template for our newsletters going forward. So once I'm in here, you can see here it uses a placeholder. We want to probably change this to our logo. Maybe you want to add your logo up here. So I'm going to click into this, and I'm going to change the image by clicking this edit icon. And I'm going to upload from media storage library. So within here, we can then add our logo. Maybe your logo is already in here, but I'm going to add my logo into here right now. I'm just dragging and dropping it into my storage library, there it is, and then I'm gonna double click it. We've added our logo to the top now. Maybe I wanna get rid of this here, and I can get rid of this section. And really what you wanna do is you wanna build a template such that it's very easy to just plug and play every time you write a newsletter. So you can write out some of the constants, for example. So a constant is probably gonna be something like you calling them by their first name, which is something that we can do within GoHighLevel, where we call back their first name. We've got their first name because they submitted the newsletter form where they provided their first name. So what we can do here is say, hey, and we can use custom values up here in the top right. We can use contact values, and we can use the person's first name. This will automatically populate the person's first name that you're sending this email to. Then what you want to do is kind of leave the rest up to kind of manipulate based on your template. I'm going to get rid of some of these images here. I'm going to get rid of that section. And maybe I want to keep a call to action at the bottom. So this one has a button here. Maybe I want to have some sort of call to action at the bottom. What I'm going to do is click into this button, and maybe I'm going to add my own website here in case someone ever wants to take a look at it. But what I can even do is add my book a call page. And you can see here, we're linking the URL to this button, but we also want to change the text potentially. So I might say book a call. And there we go. You can change the colors, you can do all that stuff, you can make it full width. That's completely up to you. Now, the really cool thing too is at the bottom here, all this information will automatically populate based on your account within GoHighLevel. So for example, copyright, right now, year, this will just put the current year. Location name will be the name of your sub account, which will automatically pull in here. Location email, this will be the business email associated with your sub account. So when you go into settings, business profile, the email that's in there will be the email that shows up here. And this unsubscribe link too will automatically work. When someone unsubscribes from your newsletter, it will automatically unsubscribe them, and it will make it impossible to send to them again. So you don't need to worry about kind of setting up a system for unsubscriptions. This will do it automatically for you. I'm going to rename this template here, my newsletter template. And I'm going to save this. Then when I go back, you'll see in our email templates here, our new template has been made. Newsletter template. So now what I can do, now that I've built my template, let's say it's time to actually send a newsletter. I can grab my newsletter template here. I'm going to click the three dots. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a campaign. There's our template here. Now we can start editing this template without worrying about changing all of the things that we made on the original template. This is like a new email that we're creating. So now we can go in, change all the content within here to match this specific newsletter. Now what we want to do here though is in the top, we want to make sure that we call this based on the newsletter that we're sending. So maybe we could call this newsletter, and right now it's April 2025. So I can say newsletter, April. So once we've configured our email, we are then able to go to send or schedule. When we go into send or schedule, we have a couple of different options that we can go through in order to really optimize first deliverability into someone's email inbox, but also some of the things like the subject line, the email that we're actually sending from, the email address that we're actually sending from. So first things first, I'm always going to suggest that you send in batch. Okay, if you send, like if you grow your list like 1,000 emails and you try and send them one email blast, you're going to end up in people's spam. You want to send in batch here. So we're going to send in drip over the course of a day or 2 days or even 3 days if you're at thousands and thousands. Again, you want to warm up to start sending at that kind of volume, but really just in good practice, always send in batch. It's going to drastically improve your deliverability. So what we can do, for example, here is we can send maybe 5 emails. Repeat after means I'm going to send 5 emails here and repeat after, let's say like 20 minutes. Now this will really depend on how many people are in your list. You may have a much higher frequency, which with a lot more volume. You may even be able to do like 1 email every 5 minutes because you just don't have that many people yet. But I would just space it out such that you can send all your emails in maybe like a day or 2. It's just the best way to go. You can also decide when the emails actually get sent on. So if you're starting it today is actually a Friday, maybe I don't want it to send on Saturday and Sunday. So maybe it doesn't quite get everyone through, but I don't want it to send on Saturday and Sunday, so it should then start again next Monday. We can also pick the start and end time that this gets sent out. So maybe I'm going to do 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That means that this email can only be sent out between these times on these days. Now, the from address is going to be the from email address that you're going to be sending the email from. So if I wanted to send from I could send from this address here. Now you want to make sure that this address that you're sending from, the domain here, matches the dedicated email domain that you have set up, settings, email services. I'm not going to touch too much on that right now, but essentially this is going to be the email that people see when you send the email. We can also set up a custom reply to address. This is going to be if you want someone to reply to a specific email address other than the one set up here. Then you can add your subject line to your newsletter. Now, when we get to the bottom here, this is going to be where we can actually send to that smart list that we created early on in the video. So now we can actually click here, send to smart list. I can then add, and here's my smart list called newsletter. And you can see I have one contact in there. That's myself, because I'm the one who submitted that form. Once we've set that up, I'm not going to go too much into like tracks, clicking, UTM tracking, anything like that. For this, I just want to send this one system email right now, this newsletter email, and I've set up all my configurations here, and then I can go ahead and schedule. Perfect. And now we've sent a campaign. Thank you so much for getting to the end of this video. I hope you have found it valuable. If you are finding it a little bit harder to build your coaching business on HighLevel and you're looking for maybe a little bit of extra support, feel free to check out the link in the description below. My goal is really to make coaching as easy as possible using HighLevel. I've helped many other coaches do it before. If that is something that you're all looking to do, you're looking for a little bit of extra help, feel free to check out that link. We can hop on a call and we can even talk about what really you're trying to put together here. But either way, feel free to subscribe, feel free to comment anything that you find or that you would like to learn about. I'll create another video for it. And if you find this content valuable, feel free to like it so I can put more videos like this in front of you, so you can get more value out of videos like this, and so I can keep building them and even learn from what's working and not working with you. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.